The pot is still boiling in the neighboring nation of Pakistan. And what's happened now? Our neighbor is seldom out of news, generally for all the wrong reasons. But today, we are joining live just to have a brief look at what's happened in the match, which really isn't the slog overs. First of all, a little background and what happened today. Today, a constitutional bench of the Pakistan Supreme Court, comprising 7 judges, beg your pardon, 5 judges, ruled that the ruling of the Speaker of the Pakistan National Assembly, rather the ruling of the Deputy Speaker who was acting as the Speaker in trying to throw out the no confidence motion without any voting taking place, was unconstitutional. And also the subsequent act of the President of Pakistan on the advice of Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, to dissolve the National Assembly was also unconstitutional. So today, now the stage is reset for a no confidence motion on 9th of April. And depending on the outcome thereof, either you would have a new Prime Minister being elected by the members of the Pakistan National Assembly, or the country could go into a round of elections, and there is always the Pakistan Army waiting on the sidelines to take over the administration. Now, the background of this is, which I think we had a series of tweets earlier, was that the combined opposition parties had brought about a no confidence motion in the Pakistan National Assembly, which is equivalent to India's Lok Sabha. And some of the allies who were supporting Imran Khan had openly defected to the other side, so much so that even members of parliament belonging to his very own PTI had said that they would go and vote against him for various reasons. Now, Pakistan Prime Minister and former cricketer Imran Khan, not to give up or concede a match before, as he says, the last ball has been bowled, had very clearly said that I am going to fight to the hilt at that particular point in time. And he had come up with an address to the nation. Subsequently, also, I think he addressed Pakistan twice, but the one which I heard and heard live left a very clear impression that Imran Khan was trying to speak directly to the youth of the Pakistan. And the demography of Pakistan is much the same as in India. In other words, 2/3 of the population is under 35 years of age. So he had said basically this, that we have been a puppet regime of, without naming the United States of America, of a foreign power. We were asked to extend them help in Afghanistan when the Russians or the Soviet Union had occupied Afghanistan. At that time, it was said a foreign occupation has taken place and therefore we have to be part of a jihad, and Pakistan was pulled into it. And thereafter, subsequently, you had 9/11 happening, and then America needing all the logistics, and the very Taliban forces which Pakistan had propped up with the aid of Western powers now were the bad guys. And therefore, Pakistan was pulled into a diametrically opposite direction to support the regime which was supported by the United States of America. In other words, fight the Taliban. And in the process, they suffered not only collateral but direct damage. In a speech, he said that 80,000 Pakistan nationals lost their lives, especially in the frontier tribal areas. There were drone attacks, Pakistani citizens dying. and none of the people from the Pakistan's very own political parties even so much as condemned. And he gave an example that the Afghanistan president, whenever such a thing happened, was making at least statements. So he said, no, time has come for us to take the matter into our own hands. We are a sovereign nation, and therefore we need to be taking decisions in the best interest of Pakistan rather than as a puppet. And he said the trigger was basically my or Imran Khan's visit to Russia to meet President Putin a few days before the hostilities began, rather the Russian invasion began. And therefore, he said I was guided totally by a consultative process. The Foreign Office, the previous and the former foreign secretaries of Pakistan, and remember, Pakistan has got a very nice and a professional diplomatic corps, much like India. And therefore, those people had advised him and he'd gone. But obviously, this was not liked by the Western powers. He was referring to some communications as to how it was said that, the consequences are not going to be good for you. He said, come what may, we will face. I'm not going to resign. Let us at least go to the parliament and see who's voting for whom. There were allegations of huge sums of money, including implicitly foreign funding being arranged to engineer defections. And then, of course, he pulled a trump card. The deputy speaker, when the time for the no confidence motion came, did not allow that even to take place. And simultaneously, the advice of the prime minister to dissolve the National Assembly, which the president formally and promptly acceded to. And at the same time, you had the process of the interim prime minister. Now, what really happens now is there is going to be a vote of confidence, rather a vote of no confidence. From the numbers games, it looks pretty much like Imran Khan is going to lose it. So whether you're going to have a new coalition with a prime minister from one of the opposition parties coming, whether we are going to have new elections, so on and so forth. But I personally feel, and these are my personal views, that Pakistan is at a point of inflection, if not at a fork, which is shaped like a Y. So it will perhaps be able to, Pakistan would be able to either take a path where it becomes kind of semi-sovereign. It will always have to depend upon the foreign power. Remember, Pakistan is very strategically placed. It has access to the warm waters of the Indian Ocean through the Arabian Sea. It is at a stone's throw from Middle East, borders Iran, and of course, the huge border with Afghanistan. Then India, of course, you've got border with Jammu and Kashmir, the line of control, and also through the occupied Kashmir, you have connectivity with China, so on and so forth. So we have to watch very carefully as an Indian nation as to what's happening there. But more importantly, people of Pakistan will have to decide. I have been, trying to hear some of their Twitter spaces, some by their own people, some by international scholars. People say that, you shouldn't take him on his face value. He's just trying to save his own skin and his own office. Tomorrow, if he remains in office, he would as much be a puppet of the United States as before. So those are things which are a matter of hypothesis and speculation. One should remember that Imran Khan is no more that sportsmanship cricketer whom we all loved when we were in school and college days. He's hardened, he's a seasoned politician who has now been the prime minister, knows how to negotiate with their own army, their ISI, which independently of the diplomatic channel have got a very deep relationship with Pentagon. So interesting days, and we'll keep you apprised as to how things happen. So bye for now. Take care.